to the PHNX Cardinals podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Hungry for a big win this week? DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game. And if they do, you win $200 in free bets. It's that simple. Just remember to use the code PHNX when you sign up. We've got Frank Sanders, a.k.a. Mr. Christmas, in the house. We've got Johnny Venerable, a.k.a. the Red Power Ranger, in the house. And myself, Chierstin Susel. Was supposed to have a full football costume, but only half of it got delivered, so I've got a football shirt on. It's not
looks
very,
good.
not very exciting.
It's the thought that counts.
It's a thought that counts. Yeah, it looks good.
It's no Red Power Ranger outfit.
Yeah, I know, right? That's fly. That's
It is red. Oh, there we go.
Oh, shout out to Jacob for all the special Halloween effects tonight. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jacob. That's pretty fly. I do love it. I actually love Halloween. I do. When we were kids, it was literally, and don't be like, I'm a little more older than you guys, so don't start tripping. You know what I mean?
You
like,
start showing your age here?
Yeah, I know. I had to stop because I knew you guys would be like, you know what?
What did you do?
Like, what did I do? And I was like,
Before
honestly,
really,
we threw eggs. Like, we literally threw eggs at kids as they were coming through trick or treating in the neighborhood. And we were not like, it was like a normal neighborhood, kind of like Awatuki, but we just were it was the spooky moment. So we throw eggs over the house, we throw eggs at kids, but we would go and, some guys would run through the neighborhood.
What if a child got salmonella poisoning? Right?
You didn't think about that.
Well, that wasn't what do kids think about those things that are important when they're doing mischievous stuff? No, not at all. And but we had a lot of fun. I love Halloween. I love walking up saying trick or treat. Smell my feet.
Well, fun fact about me, I've never been trick-or-treating.
Well, we got to change that.
Really?
I've never been.
Okay. Mom and Dad just was anti, no way.
Yeah, I went to these things at our church called Harvest Festivals.
I did that too with the girls. Once, look, as a Christian, I understand it. I do get the formalities behind it. And so my mom and dad, they were Christians, and they still thought that Halloween was a kid's thing, and so you had to do it. And they love putting out candy for the kids in the neighborhoods.
Well, here's the thing: I'm one of 5 kids. My older sister and I weren't allowed to celebrate Halloween. My younger 3 siblings, were allowed to celebrate Halloween.
See how it goes.
Yeah,
right. That's like, oh my God, don't do that, don't do that. Okay, you can do that. Okay, that's not that bad.
Wasn't allowed to play video games. The younger 3 allowed to play video games. Anyway.
Parenting. As you go through the seasons of it, you learn so much. Really
with my second daughter, we basically given up. She just started throwing things at her. Our first child, we were like, we'll do it by the book. No snacks. No sweets, nothing like that. No juice. With my daughter, who's a terror, who's 2 years old, it's just like, how can we get through the day? Here's a Capri Sun. Throw egg waffles at her every morning. Yeah, my wife would kill me if she heard me say this, but it's the 100% truth, the second child thing. So I sympathize with your parents.
Yeah.
Really do.
All right, well, before we get into some football talk, let's talk about a very important topic surrounding Halloween. The best Halloween candy. So we have our rankings here. I'll share mine first, okay? I've got bottle caps, number 1, hands down. Coca-Cola, cherry, root beer bottle caps, delicious. Then Snickers, Sour Patch Kids, Airheads, and then Twizzlers. That's it for me. Those are the best for me.
So I don't dislike any of those, but the number 1 pick right there, when I saw that pre-show, I was legitimately shocked.
It's the best.
Like the plastic, with the little juice on the inside, the plastic bottle caps.
No.
Bite into those and they squirt like a little, then you chew on it.
That's disgusting. Do they even make those anymore?
They do. The wax bottle.
The wax. That's what I thought. That's what I thought you had when I was like, bottle caps.
No. Bottle caps. They're kind of like not sweet tarts.
Like Spree. Yeah, Sprees, sweet tart-ish. Yeah.
They're kind of like sweet tarts, but they're not, they don't have like the sourness to them. It's like literally like a sweet tart, but like think of like a root beer.
So if it was root beer, it was root beer. And if it was Coke, it was Coke. And if it was...
but like a sweet tart candy.
Okay, all right,
it's delicious.
Okay, so they gave those, so for you, when you went, you didn't go trick-or-treating, you went to Harvest Fest. So we went to Harvest Fest. They had...
Yeah, they had like the fun size little, bucket. That's like a normal thing.
Not where
I always feel like the people who gave those out really didn't give a shit about Halloween. But now I know that there are people who genuinely like that candy, which is like, you know what I think? I think of bottle caps, and it makes me think of old people. So I'm glad to see that they're still around. I don't dislike them.
Can somebody please that's listening that likes bottle caps just throw something in the chat so I know that I'm not alone here? My goodness. Thank you.
Can we get the list back up, Jacob?
Yeah,
of course.
So I think the general consensus between the three of us is Snickers are top 5 across the board. Chierstin, your list, when I look at it, is mostly non-chocolate, with like it's like sweet and sour mix, Sour Patch, the Airheads,
non-chocolate stuff.
When I have Sour Patch Kids, I feel like my mouth is always like cut up the next day. Is that part of the appeal because it's like got so much coating on it? No?
Yeah, I just love getting my mouth cut up.
I don't know, but like some people are into
that's part of the appeal. Yeah, I know it doesn't do that for me, Johnny.
Okay, so maybe I'm incredibly soft, but all right, my list is top to bottom. I'm a big Heath Bar guy. I've said this before on PHNX programming. Toffee, I'm into toffee, so it doesn't matter what kind it is. That's my go-to.
That sounds old to me.
It is. So I'm put my foot in my mouth there. And then I'm traditionalist, so I like Milky Way and I like Milk Duds, the Tootsie Pops, the suckers themselves. That's a staple in our house.
Tootsie Pops?
Yeah.
Nah.
And then the one I left off here and you made fun of me pre-show was have you had a Take 5 before? You know what that is?
Absolutely not.
And so it's like
I have no idea what that is.
It's almost like a
Take 5.
caramel and nougat, and then there's pretzel in it. It's relatively new, and the look of disgust that Chierstin gave me when I told her that I was a fan of it. So now I'm glad I didn't put it on my list because I would have gotten shamed.
I 100% think I'm like the most normal dude in this point if you're going trick-or-treating and someone has a bunch of candy out there. Like I'm thinking Almond Joys, and there's like Almond Joys, M&Ms, Rolos, like just
I do like Rolos.
Twix, and like stuff. Like I just don't know. I've seen those type of bags that's out there for the stuff that you guys are describing. But as a parent that loves kids, I don't think I would never. Yeah, I just
but
said that. But
you have Almond Joys? Like my son would not touch an Almond Joy.
Most kids do
not.
Almonds?
Hey,
Almond Joys in
the question is, was it my favorite? Isn't it about me? I don't think it's about like the kids that's coming to the house. I would get them, and if they didn't want it, then I was happy that the kids didn't want the Almond Joys. Like leave more for me.
What's the other Mounds?
Yeah,
you like Mounds?
I love coconut candy. I'm a coconut lover.
If I have a sweet tooth, I can eat literally anything. It doesn't matter what it is. I'll take a Take 5, like whatever. Almond Joy, I'll eat it, but it's just not my favorite.
Yeah. So, but I think that all my stuff is all chocolate. I'm a chocolate lover. I got a sweet tooth bad. I ask God never take that away. Fried chicken, please, Lord, don't let that go away. Please, ice cream.
Somebody just started handing out.
I like just don't Lord. You know, you get older, you be like certain things you stop eating because you get older. And they be like, you can't eat that.
Yeah.
Like I don't want that ever to happen when it comes to ice cream, sweets, fried chicken. I'd be like, Lord, and bacon, like God, please leave bacon alone. Let me have that. So my body has to be in place to be able to do that. So that's why you and I will be working out here soon.
That's right.
And using the Manscaped 4.0.
What?
That's a far left turn onto one of our promos, but I guess we can go there. Manscaped.com, promo code PHNX. So if you had an opportunity to come out to Lola's last night at the Westgate, Frank and I and Chierstin were there. Frank and I in particular, we hope we look the part because we utilize Manscaped on a regular basis to get ready for the plethora of photos that we took before and after the game. Manscaped.com is going to help you set up post-Halloween. So if you're going as the Wolfman this Sunday and you want to get situated for the holiday season, look good for your family cards, get-togethers, photos that comes with that. Manscaped.com, promo code PHNX is going to get you free shipping site-wide as well as 20% off. Lawnmower 4.0, they've got trimmers, they've got, I was going to say waxers. I don't think they have those, but they've got body wash, they've got gel, a plethora of supplies. Check it out, manscaped.com, but you got to use the promo code PHNX.
Well, while we're going out of order, we might as well just mention our partners over at DraftKings once more. The good thing is, all weekend long, since the Cardinals have already played, everybody can just bet on NFL games and not have to worry about their fandom getting in the way of any decision. So hop on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. If you have not downloaded it yet, make sure you use the code PHNX when you do so. If you combine multiple bets from the same game, you're always going to get a bit bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you're going to win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, but best of all, you can deposit, withdraw your cash whenever you want. But as always, when it comes to sports betting on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, it's 21 and over, Arizona only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Unfortunately, I placed a bet on the Cardinals last night.
You placed the money line or to cover?
To cover. Well, to cover.
To cover against the 6.5 point spread. Yeah. I think it was early for a lot of us that placed that bet. I did as well. That was not going to hit after that first quarter, where the Cardinals looked dejected offensively, and we'll get into the game. But I know a lot of people put big pun money on the Cardinals. Our buddy Shane, producer Shane, put a couple bills, I believe, on the Arizona Cardinals to cover last night, or maybe even the money line, and that did not work out for him.
Sorry, Shane.
Yep, I had a friend that texted me last night, and they said they put $50 on the game, on the score. And they won $11,000 last night.
So, like, they guessed the score to a T?
They guessed the score to a T. And she won $11,000 plus dollars.
Would she like to make a donation via Super Chat?
I told her, I just couldn't believe it. And it was, look, that's the beauty of where we are right now in betting and having the opportunity to change your life in one day. And for the good, because sometimes it can go opposite, but that was a great thing to hear from her, because she's a single mom that's been really working hard on some stuff.
Nice.
A friend called her and like checked her out and said, "Hey, why don't you check this out and just put $50 down? Quit tripping. Come on, girl, just put $50 down." And he talked her into it, just said that. She put it down, and she just guessed the score. Reason why she guessed the score, her favorite basketball number is 42, but she couldn't do 42, so she did 24. And in some kind of way, she did some woman mathematical equation in her head and came up with the points of what the Cardinals will have, and next thing you know, she had the exact points on the table.
So you're telling me she was celebrating when Kyler Murray threw that interception?
She was not happy and happy.
Yeah.
She was not happy and happy, and she was quietly rejoicing, but internally hurt at the same time.
Yeah.
It just so happened she just said, "These are my numbers," and I put it out there, and she thought we had ran the table as a team, just watching the way we was going. And she said, "You know what? I figured I'd just go with Green Bay," and ended up winning the $11,000 plus dollars. So
good for her.
It's pretty good for her. So,
well, Saul is in the chat, and he appreciates your effort, Johnny. He doesn't know what to think about all the costumes, but he does appreciate your effort.
Is that Saul's picture?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That dude is handsome. No wonder, man, she picked him up. Man, that dude is handsome. Look at you, Saul, in the picture. Man, I've never seen, excuse me, folks, I've never seen him without facial hair.
Yeah.
And look at that guy right there.
We keep
Saul,
it casual here at PHNX, obviously.
Man, that dude is spot on handsome. Go ahead, Saul. Show him what you're working with.
Bird Gang Travel Club, how bad were our score predictions yesterday? Well, we all predicted the Cardinals to win, so pretty dang bad.
Look, I had 40-17. I really thought this team was going to come show up with the energy that I was hoping for.
Yeah.
I was just hoping that they would realize this is a moment to be defying across the board nationally, with the media, with the fans, just for themselves to say we can go out and beat a team and punish a team that doesn't have all the weapons, but to punish them. And I had a 42-17 score, and it just didn't go that way. They did not come out. They looked lethargic. They didn't come with a bunch of emotions. But I'm not going to ride the Cardinals because they showed up at the end of the game. It just did not go the way we wanted it to go.
I got the sense from every press conference I heard yesterday, from Cliff to DJ Humphries to Kyler Murray, everybody was emotionally spent after this game. And I think it was the culmination of the past 3 or 4 weeks with the COVID outbreak and the emotions of losing J.J. Watt, or even Hopkins and Watt playing their former team. And then you lose those two players. Mm-hmm. Of course, Watt being out earlier before the game, Hopkins essentially being compromised and maybe not even being able to play. I know the Packers were dealing with a lot of adversity too, but the Cardinals, who are still learning how to win and how to be contenders, I just felt like, they had an opportunity to win at the end, but it felt it didn't feel like their night from start to finish.
I made that point yesterday as well before I heard the any of the post-game press conferences. I asked Cliff about it today, and he kind of, it was said that, yeah, all those things are, hard to deal with, but at the end of the day, that's the NFL. It doesn't mean just because it's not uncommon, in the league, it doesn't mean that you're not human.
Yeah.
Right. And
Right.
so for sure, especially after, all things considered, and then tack on a short week and that kind of a loss. Yeah.
The Watt thing to me was the differentiator. He plays last night. It's a different game. We'll get into it. Frank's going to dive into the final play here in a little bit. But I just, to me, that was so deflating. We felt it as outsiders looking in, as quote unquote media, a couple nights before. And it was just like, what's happening? Yeah, he's not going to play, but he's out for the year. And he's been maybe their most valuable player outside of Kyler Murray. You could sense that yesterday. They just weren't the same team. Now, how they respond in the coming weeks, hopefully they'll overcome that adversity. But just if this game maybe had been played Sunday as opposed to Thursday, and that news wasn't as fresh, because literally he was like, this is irritating me, and then he didn't practice early in the week, and then I think he got most of his test run like Tuesday, and then they made that recommendation. It just, to me, was too much too soon for this team.
I agree. Hopefully everybody's able to go out, have a good Halloween weekend, spend time with the fam, hang, laugh, forget about it, and just have a good weekend. Speaking of people having fun, Max Williams, even though his season has ended, he's continued to have fun on Twitter, and he's entertaining on game day, posting how he's watching the game and what he's wearing. So yesterday he posted a photo that mimicked the draft day photo back in 2020 that Cliff so famously took at his house. And so we've got a graphic of the two photos side by side, so you can see so this is Cliff on the top, this is Max on the bottom. It was absolutely hilarious. And he was spot on with it. So today, I asked Cliff at the end of the press conference. I made sure that I got a serious question in there, and all the serious questions were out of the way. So to wrap it all up, I was like, let me throw in a lighthearted question. Nice. I asked him if he had, well, we'll play it because actually I've got my question in there. So this is how the press conference ended today. I'll end it on a light one. Wondering if you happen to have seen Max Williams' photo that he tweeted out, and your thoughts on how he did replicating you.
I did. I just asked him how he was able to fit in those pants.
Coach, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, everyone.
God bless you, Chierstin.
That's it.
I told you on Twitter that's the proudest I've ever been of you, because that team needs an opportunity to smile and laugh. And I know he didn't, but to keep it lighthearted like that, because they need context right now. It's not been a fun couple days.
Well, and I hope I'm not reading it wrong, but some people were like, oh, he's totally wasn't amused. I could be reading it wrong, but that's just Cliff's, he's the best at the deadpan.
Yeah.
That's
the straight man. Yeah.
So that's just Cliff being funny. And I was on Zoom, and so we were all laughing, but we are all silenced. And so it just made for the most awkward ending to a press conference ever. You know what?
We said it, last week was winning is fun, losing 100% sucks. There's so many things that you have to go back in your mind and so many questions you have to answer. And then he personally have to look at himself. Did he coach well? Did he not perform? What did he do wrong? And to answer the questions to what happened and why it happened, and to walk into a media room and have to deal with the questions which you guys asked. I thought that is a great job by you, Chierstin, try to help them cheer him up. But losing sucks, and the coaches will never show that they just will hold a grit in their teeth when they're talking. They're gonna talk like this. Then they have no smile, no personality. So great question. But to me, if I'm him, I'm laughing on the inside, because you got to look at a player, not a former player, but a player that just lost his entire season and is trying to enjoy the moment. And he's just replicating you guys. And I think what Max did was absolutely fly.
It was funny.
Love that from him. It's very absolutely funny.
I hope he continues to do something funny every week. So the first Sunday he was out. Oh wait, has it been more than?
I think this will be his He's missed 3 weeks.
3 weeks now? Okay, so maybe he only did 2 out of the 3 weeks. But the one where he had basically full uniform and his helmet sitting on the couch, it's great.
Yeah. He's gotten dressed up each of the past 2 weeks. I think that first week he was probably right out of surgery. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well,
good sense of humor by Max. That's a tough loss. And to have that kind of attitude and sense of humor to still be on Twitter and not just go into a wormhole. Look, the mental strain and the emotional toughness to be to your season to be done. And all you can look at is your goals. And typically your goals are I'll have 75 to 100 catches. I'll have 1,000 yards. Maybe this is my first 1,000-yard season. And then I can get that check. I can get that money back, and then Cleveland Brown happened, and then now you still have to feel like you're part of the team. He's doing something that most players would never do, which is still feel like they're part of the team, and I love that.
And I noticed too on Twitter, not that Twitter is the end all be all, but he's incredibly active. He likes and retweets a bunch of tweets related to Zach Ertz, so he just shows you he's the ultimate team player. He wants this team to have success. Yeah. He's bought in. And that speaks to the culture the Cardinals have, and that's why I do think that they've got enough guys in that locker room without Max Williams and J.J. Watt to overcome this.
And I think J.J. Watt is still going to be a guy just like Max Williams, where he's still very much a part of the team. You're still going to feel his presence. He's still going to be, on Twitter supporting the team, out on the field supporting the team. He was out there still, last night, and so that's good. If you haven't seen it yet, we do have a T-shirt. I don't know if we have the graphic for it. A J.J. Watt inspired T-shirt up on PHNXLocker.com. Maybe we are just effing better. J.J. Watt may or may not be back on the field for the Cardinals this year, but it doesn't mean that quote is any less significant. We all rallied behind that. Unfortunately, last night that wasn't the case, but in general, I think it is.
Our record speaks for itself. Stop doubting us. We beat a lot of good teams. We beat a lot of great teams that you guys had on mantles, or the media had on a mantle before we even faced them. And then the Cardinals went out and absolutely destroyed them. The Rams, the Browns, the 49ers. They smacked up the Titans. So the list is a tough list of teams that were supposed to be their top tier players. Look, top tier teams, we went out and smacked them, put a 30-burger on a lot of those teams, shut down their high-powered offense, or destroyed what defense they thought was amazing. Last night came down to one play, one moment, one opportunity, and had he made that play, this conversation, what else would they be saying? How would they be talking? We've been saying for the last couple of weeks, all they've been waiting for is to have this
correct
already written out formation or student statement to say, I told you, so that the Cardinals were not what we thought they was. So to me, and honestly, that's their loss for not really looking at a really good team, and that has a lot of good players that have answered a lot of the calls to rally around themselves and to beat up on the teams that's been on their schedule.
I think they should at least get somewhat I don't know if a pass is the right word, but when you're going up against a team like the Packers and a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, I just don't think that anybody ever counts them out. Mm-hmm. And they're a fantastic team, and if they had lost to the Texans, if they had beaten the Packers and lost to the Niners, or if they still lose to the Niners next week, or I think then maybe some conversations could be had. But just after this loss, it is what it is.
Yeah, Matt LaFleur, since he became the Green Bay Packer head coach, this is his third season, third or fourth season, I think has the best winning percentage in the regular season out of any head coach in the NFL. And so, say what you want, they haven't won the Super Bowl, but they are incredibly difficult to beat, even without a slew of players, and we saw that last night. And to beat them, typically, and if the Cardinals anticipate playing them again down the line, you have to almost kind of play mistake-free football. And the Cardinals turned the ball over 3 times last night. Rondale Moore had his first welcome to the NFL evening. Not great timing. And I chalk it up to there wasn't one singular position group that hung their hat and said, we performed well, outside of maybe the running backs. I thought Chase and James had a good night, but the defensive backs, Byron Murphy got beat twice. There was no pass rush. The run defense was bad. The offensive line was shaky. Kyler didn't play well to begin the game. You didn't have Hopkins. So I think you just chalk it up as a team loss and you move forward.
I agree. Drum roll, please. Time for Frank Knows, one of our favorite segments here on the PHNX Cardinals podcast. Frank knows it all.
Frank knows some things.
You have a few plays on that final drive that you want to break down for us, don't you?
I do. And before we get in that, I just want to, let's tee it up with this conversation is that, of course, if he just turns around, the play happens. I do also want to add this to the conversation because you asked me, did I have some? I was like, no, it's all about the stats. The stats are the facts because literally, we got dominated.
Yeah.
In every category, pretty much we got dominated. So if you just look at the numbers, we always talk about the numbers don't lie.
Possession, total yards, turnovers.
Yeah. Yep.
We lost in all of those categories.
Everybody wants to blame
But
AJ.
clicheically, the conversation is always stated, it just takes one play. And so all I want to do right now is, and like you, the fan, like us, the media, and us as just, we're fans too, there's some questions that you have to ask. And so what I wanted to do was I went back to not the play that he didn't turn around on, but the play before that. Because we were driving 99 yards, pretty much essential 99 yards, and they were just making play after play after play. So, guys, you have to look at that. Like, we're making play after play, but we're giving ourselves a chance to win the ball game. And that's all you can ask for. We can go back to Larry. We can go back to Hail Rogers when he threw the ball. Rogers when he threw the ball at the end of the game. And, like, so we've had, over the last couple of years, these last moments and these last drive, incredible moments between the Green Bay Packers and the Arizona Cardinals. So this is no different. And the person who comes up with the final play typically wins the game. So what I wanted to do was, because there is a question, how could you not turn around? And we were talking about it the other night, was the RPO offense. And sometimes the run-pass offense presents itself where the receiver is running a play, but he could be blocking and not know that it was to be turned into a pass play. And so I wanted to check and see what was the formation in the play before that when Murray ran. And then I wanted to go back to see, was the formation the same that would have indicated to him just to give him an out. Yeah. There's some things that, what did he hear? What didn't he hear? Because it just doesn't make sense. That everyone can say that, as Todd talks about, he says, look, a high school receiver would just, in single coverage, would just turn around and know he's the only receiver by himself. We do that. So, Jacob, let's run it a little bit and we'll go. And what I want to show was, this is the formation right here. This is the formation. Is this the formation before? Go ahead and run it so I can see if this is the one that Kyler ran on and then the next play. Is this the one? Go ahead. Okay, pause right there. Okay, so can you go back now? Now I can see what we're talking about. So you guys can check this out. We have a 3-by-1 set, 3 down, 3 receivers at the bottom, 1 up top. Look at what, if you look at what Green Bay's presenting, you can see that they have basically one cornerback on top of AJ, but also they has another one that is kind of lurking on the inside that says, I'm covering the slant, you got the outside. You see that?
Yep.
And so Kyler reads that perfectly because if you look, we count the box, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got 5 down linemen. Well, 1 that's standing up, 2 standing up, and then 2 sitting down. That's 5 guys on the line. And we got 5 linemen. So we can basically block it also with our running back in there. Okay? So run the play and we can see Kyler makes a good read. Go ahead and run it and you'll see. He saw the guy come down. He sees it. He got one-on-one and it's just him. So, and then look what AJ does. He blocks. So this looks like a can you go back real quick so everybody can go? I just want you to, so we can dive into it. The formation, look at the cornerback up top, come down, then you see Kyler reads it, he goes, he sees, AJ goes and blocks. And you would think it was just an automatic call that this is going to be a quarterback run. All right, now we in the position where, now let's go to the next play.
Nice little touch with the flying back.
All right, pause. Now we see again, we have a 1 receiver set with 3 down at the bottom. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the top, and 1, 2, 3. They got 6 guys in the box, which we always talk about. 1, 2 at the 1, 2, 3 at the bottom, 1, 2, 3 at the top. Okay, and we still got we got a box of 6. We got our 5 down linemen, and we got a running back that's right there. Of course, the clock is 15 seconds to go in the game. We're on we're second and goal. And so that means we have opportunities. We just have no timeouts.
Yeah.
So if he throws the ball, throws it in a way where he can't catch it, then we have another play, another opportunity, right? So now there is no guy that's on the outside. So now what we look at, The play before we saw that there was a cornerback lurking, right? And now we don't have a cornerback lurking. And so to me, this would mean that if Kyler decided to run, then he would have the right side wide open again, just what he had before. So I don't know, because we can look at the safety on the top right, and the safety's coming down like he's going into the box. And so to me, if Kyler wanted to run and burst outside like he did before, he would be the guy that's the lone guy running the ball. So and then he would need somebody to block that cornerback. So why would AJ turn it, which is an automatic pass play, into a run play?
I just got to think with the time on the clock and no timeouts.
Okay.
And you have to have time to try to kick a field goal too, especially if you fall well short of the goal line.
Yep.
I'm playing devil's advocate here.
I'm with you.
Everybody in that stadium knew. 2nd and 3rd down, you're throwing into the end zone and let the chips fall where they may. Can't take a sack. And God forbid you get to 4th down. You stop the clock each of the last 2 plays, and you can get Matt Prater on for a chip shot.
And the difference with that is this here. Kyler's running the ball. He runs. He doesn't like it. He slides. The ball in his hand. He gets up. The ball is still in his hand. He runs, put the ball in the middle of the field, put the ball down. They hike the ball. He spikes it. That's 15 seconds. It's 13 seconds. He starts to run. He gets the ball, starts to run the ball. He sees that he's outnumbered. He slides. He's giving himself up. They can't hold him. So he gets up then. That's 7-8 seconds off the clock maybe. He runs and he spikes the ball. So to me, this is the only caveat. Now I'm saying, you're playing devil's advocate, but I'm saying like when you look at the numbers, go back to the play and you look at the field and you go back and then we'll say hike and then you go say hike and pause. Now see, there's guys blitzing. And so I agree. So now maybe Kyler thought that he was outnumbered because the numbers would outnumber on the right side. And they're playing man-to-man with this is zero coverage. And so basically in zero coverage, he should have known that according to whatever it would have been, Kyler doesn't throw the ball directly at him. He throws it where it looks like AJ is not in the position or AJ bats the ball down. We had 14 seconds on the clock. We still got 13, 12 if it's batted down.
Yeah,
so,
but here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing, though. It was a massive miscommunication because they were coming out of a timeout. We talked to Cliff today.
Oh, were they really?
He confirmed that they had talked about the situation.
I'd forgotten they were coming out of a timeout too. That's even more.
They were coming out of a timeout. Boom. See?
That's inexcusable.
That is inexcusable. And I was trying
to. That's on both Cliff and Kyler to make sure everybody is on the same page.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, Cliff literally, he's like, I just don't have an answer other than it being miscommunication. I cannot speak for what was going on in anyone's head. We talked about it. We were coming out of a timeout. He's like, 2 great players weren't on the same page, and that's all I got for you.
Well, and I like the play decision. A lot of people are like, well, that should have been Hopkins. I mean, AJ Green one-on-one this year has been incredibly effective, especially with jump balls. He had one earlier in the game. You could have gone to Zach Ertz. The Cardinals had the size advantage in the red zone with Green and Ertz. And Ertz made a contested catch on 4th down earlier. I would have maybe been more prone to target him. But you had single coverage across the board there because, Frank, you mentioned that they were blitzing the house. So, I mean, at the very least, if he gets his head across, around, I should say, and even if the ball is not perfectly placed, like he can play defensive back and knock it down, and then you live to fight another day on 3rd down. So it was just a complete mental error on AJ's part.
Todd saying again, a wide receiver has to look on red zone offense no matter what the play call is in case the quarterback gets in trouble at minimum. Peter agreeing with me. Keep in mind, hey, it happened after a timeout. So
that's the part where that's why I went back to see what was happening, like what was going on, and why would he not turn around? It made no sense to me. Why would he not turn around? And I go back. Here's an opportunity to win the ball game. And put yourself in a position where, you could be that guy. You now become the guy that literally almost 1,000 of your jerseys get sold. You become the guy where they can always trust you if D-Hops is not there because he seems to have recurring little knickknacks. So, and unfortunately, he just turned not to be that guy. And that to me is, it is inexcusable. because you should know in that window of time what is going on.
So let me ask you this. What can a play like that do? Or are you trained, and he's a veteran, so are you trained to get over it, move on? Or can a play like that have an impact to where all of a sudden it gets in your head at minimum the next time you're out there on the field until you can kind of play a game and let that be in the past?
I mean, all week long he'll deal with that until Kyler and him gets on the football, until they get on the football field in a game-like situation and Kyler finds him again. And he has to know, Kyler, if he doesn't know, someone has to tell him, you need to find a way to get the ball to AJ in this scenario, because he has to prove that he can body up and overcome that moment. And so then that little hint of doubt that would be out there if D-Hop's not there, or the hint of doubt is that they're doubling D-Hop's, they've overloaded the left side in the 3-by-1 set with all the players, and you're out there, because what the NFL will do is next time, they're going to do the exact same thing. They're going to say, this guy ain't going to be ready for that. He doesn't know how to handle the pressure. So we'll put one cornerback on him and we'll double everybody else and see if Kyler has the guts to trust him to see if he'll make that throw. So Kyler, I would say, has to come to him and talk. They'll talk about it, and they can express it amongst themselves. But in truth, you won't know that until he gets into the game again.
I think you're right. I think they'll feed him targets and they'll move past it and thank God this is not the postseason and it ended the season this way and he'd had to sit on this for 6 months. Yeah. It's one game.
Speaking of sitting on it, though, they've got more time to soak it all in before they take the field since they played on Thursday now. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
It's a good thing from a sense that this team's banged up and they need to get players back.
Well, what about mentally?
It's huge.
If they're mentally weak, which none of us think they are, then it'll affect them. AJ Green is a generational player, one of the best players the last 10 years at the receiver position. I don't think this is going to hamper him second half of this year. The Cardinals need him. I still think it's been a phenomenal signing. Just he had one bad play.
We talked about this after the game, and you said, Frank, emotionally, in an emotional win, or they've been carrying themselves with all these wins primarily emotionally. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to do. When I said to you, I said, Aeneas Williams pointed out something to us, when we was running in 98, when we was on our run, and it was, we had to win 4 games out of the last 6. And the last 4 games were we didn't dominate anybody. We literally fought our butts off to overcome the first half debacles and to overturn the second half of the game and walk away with a win. The Jake Plummer. So literally I got like 25 Jake Plummer comebacks in NFL career history. So it's like, but that's not fun. It's fun when you look at it on paper, but in reality, I'd rather be sitting on the sideline eating Skittles like Marshawn Lynch. Once we've already dominated the team, I would prefer that. But that's the part where the emotional hype and the wins, it was a lot to put together what we put together the first 7 games of the season.
Yeah.
And now the stretch becomes the next half becomes, because other teams will get better. The teams that were struggling in the first half because they didn't know who they were, they didn't have an identity, they were going to figure out who they are now. And then the teams that were supposed to be good should get better.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals, we didn't know who we were, and then we boom, here we are. Now we're 7-0, and now we face an opponent that could transition, could change which direction we go in the postseason or in the postseason. But in reality, the next 10 games have to be, are we physically healthy? And then are we mentally ready to just really go out and play good football and get to that next phase where we're not leaving plays on the field, where we can dominate teams and start putting guys in, our backups in, and let those guys start finishing the fourth quarter, because we have enough talent to do that. And that would be something pretty special to see. Taking that next leap would be that.
The good news is I think the Cardinals' margin for error we saw yesterday is bigger than a lot of teams where they had an opportunity to win and they got outplayed for 4 quarters.
Well
right?
stated.
And,
well said.
And so that makes me feel good, especially when you consider the return potentially of somebody like Rodney Hudson. They're going to get reinforcements back in the coming weeks. Yes, there's no Watt, but you get more and more time with Zach Ertz implemented in this offense. I still think this is a 13 or 14 win team, especially when you look at the second half of their schedule. Before the season began, everybody looked at this game as one of the toughest, if not the toughest game on the schedule.
So Cliff did say that Rodney Hudson's made great progress. and that both Hudson and Max Garcia are going next week in hopes of playing against the Niners.
So I saw your tweet, and I thought that was really interesting. I read that as, unfortunately for Josh Jones, with his play recently, which just hasn't been good enough.
It has not.
I read that as Max Garcia could potentially be your right guard next week if he's healthy, if Rodney Hudson's also back. That's how I read that. Now, I don't know that definitively. Josh had a good start to the season, but man, he's been overpowered recently by some bigger defensive tackles. Not to get off track here, but you watch the last couple weeks, maybe he is better off as a tackle, and you just kind of develop him for eventually when Kelvin Beachum opts to not be with this team anymore, or he's your swing tackle. But I read that as Max Garcia is the right guard next week. I would not be surprised by that.
That's a good point. That's a very good observation. Are you getting a little itchy with that thing?
I feel like I'm a cheerleader now. You know what I mean? I just feel like, these little
Getting
pom-poms.
the pom-poms out?
He's like, let's go.
Father Christmas, Father Frank.
Unbelievable. Well, the Cardinals receivers didn't find the end zone, but if you had placed a bet on the Cardinals running backs finding the end zone, you would have won some money. Chase Edmonds, silver lining, he finally got his first touchdown of the season.
You were right.
I was right. And James Conner got 2.
Can I share just a quick funny story? So I was putting out tweets after that Chase Edmonds touchdown. I could not see in the press box the numbers of the players. They had those black jerseys with the red numbers.
Oh, yeah.
And so I thought that was Kyler on the keep, and I was putting out tweets, and I'm like, Murray Magic again, and everybody's like, Johnny, you dummy, that's Chase Edmonds. And so I rewatched it, and they are so similar in their running style. They're almost the exact same height. They each were single digits. So, but I had to give you a lot of love because Chierstin did predict that Chase would score yesterday.
I did, and also I have trouble seeing from that press box. I'm assuming that you are not one of those with the binoculars that watches the game like that.
No.
I can't do that. And so a lot of the time, this is me in the I don't know if I annoy people or not, but this is me in a press box. Who was that? On my right or my left the whole time? That was Chase, right? That was Chase, right? Right? He got his first touchdown, right? Yeah, that was Chase. Okay, cool. Thank you.
No, I'm right there with you. No, this. Both of our eyesights are terrible. I went to the eye doctor today. It's not a good situation. I have like the most aggressive contacts you can have. So. But I know those jerseys, I think they look great.
I like the outfits.
But
have you seen how thick Frank's lenses are? He's got terrible eyes too.
I do. I can't see that much at all. I'm like, I'm struggling.
That was obviously a
Peter
joke.
says Johnny's definitely a binoculars guy. What the hell does that mean? Like I'm some kind of creep peeping Tom? No, Peter, I'm not. So
that's too funny. Too funny.
I'm a fan. That's right, Jacob. I am a family man.
Tight suit, bodysuit.
hey, bodysuit man. Yeah, unfortunately, as I've gotten older, this suit's gotten tighter. So I might retire it after this night.
Did you get out of the car and walk up here with it?
I did.
Or did you put it on in the bathroom?
I drove from my house.
You drove from the house in
Maricopa. I left my house. My kids were like, Daddy, what the hell are you doing? They didn't say it like that. And I got in my car and I drank
what are you teaching them?
And I drank my Starbucks and I pulled up. Thank God there was only this.
Did you get your Starbucks in the outfit?
No, my wife brought it to me. God bless her soul. And I was walking into the building and there's this bro and he's walking up. He's like, sweet Power Ranger costume. I'm like, hell yeah. And then I sprinted to the elevator before I saw anybody else in this building. So full context, our studio, this building shares many other offices with professional work environments. And this happens to be one. And when we walk into the, typically I have like, aggressive Kyler Murray outfits or T-shirts or that kind of thing. But, we put together our outfits, methodically here. This is on a different level. And so I made a beeline for the front door because it's technically not Halloween yet. So
it's Halloween weekend.
Yeah, but I literally, we were walking past people when we come into the studio to prep for the show and people are in like traditional work clothes.
Correct.
Like suit and ties and business women. And usually they look at me in my Converse and they're just like, are you somebody's kid? Are you going to go see your mom and dad? I'm like, no, I actually work here.
Have you ever been?
What you do at home is none of my business. I just assume you rightly or wrongly own a pair of binoculars.
No, my son does. I do not have my own.
Hey, look, Jordan P. been talking about, AJ and JP. Just honestly, I just cannot see that being the possibility. I am
what
with
is the
you.
betting line? Well, you will get an AJ Green press conference before this next game.
Yeah, but he actually said that, prior to that, he said that,
there you go.
He said that he thought that, AJ had some money line on the game as if he would throw the game.
AJ Green.
And that's
I didn't see that one.
It's
Come
a couple,
on, man.
couple plays up there.
This dude
But
took less money to come here. He's been great
AJ
all
clearly
season.
bet on the Packers money line guy.
Dude had one bad
No,
play. Get at it.
Come
You're
on,
7-1.
Jay.
Let's have
JP,
some contact.
you've seen this guy literally, just adjust and play and ball out.
You remember when he had that single
And-
coverage touchdown over the Rams that put the Cardinals ahead and set the tempo for that game? Dude is great. Let's pump our brakes here.
Bad
If
mistake.
AJ wanted to, though, he could use the DraftKings Sportsbook app, download it, use the code PHNX, and he could have betted on it. If he would have bet on
Pull
the
a Pete
Cardinals
Rose.
to win,
Yeah.
pulled a Pete Rose, he would have actually gotten $200 in free bets instantly.
I don't think he'd pass on the $25,000 signing gigs as a HOF for that particular reason. I think that he would want the
No.
HOF and
No,
his
no,
benefits that comes along with NFL players after they leave the game when he has his golden jacket. So, which unfortunately, Pete Rose is still
Without
that situation. So, but look, I'm with you that it's a tough loss and no one wants to lose that way. But I do say, I think you said it best. You just literally just said it best where the team stunk the first half. This is the Green Bay Packers.
They weren't
This
good.
is Aaron
They weren't
Rodgers.
good the whole night.
They weren't good at all. They stunk. They stunk the game up completely. Game plan wise, statistical wise, they missed tackles after tackles after tackles. Green Bay's running back looked great yesterday versus us, and it was horrible the way we played. But some kind of way, this team decided to, at some moment, they figured it out.
and I'm most proud of them because of the fact that they could have easily folded the defense on that last possession for Green Bay and given up that touchdown. And it was first and goal.
That was big time.
And they held them for 4 consecutive downs. And then to go almost the length of the field, the Devon Kennard pass defended. To me, they could have quit easily. And
They
just said,
could.
"This
They had
is
many
just not-"
opportunities to quit.
Right,
They didn't.
and just get run
Many.
over. Tanner Vallejo's playing inside linebacker. That wasn't part of the game plan. Xavier Collins, I thought, would have made an impact had he stayed healthy. People are saying that the Cardinals got out coached. I don't know if I'm going that far. I mean, you give up 24 points to the Packers even without some of their weaponry. I
think at times, if you take a look at the way that the game started with the first half, I think you could definitely argue that at times that was the case because they had to make some big time plays like the goal line stands they had to dig themselves out of situations. They had to play a methodical final drive of the game to be able to get into a position to what their hope was to either score and win or kick a field goal and force overtime. But also that defense, with Rondale Moore's mistake, muffing that punt, that goal line stand.
That was the difference. It was a 3-point game.
And that was the difference. Yeah, I mentioned that, yesterday when everybody was immediately, pounding on AJ. I said, there were several mental mistakes that went into this game. Nobody knows what was going on in AJ's head. Nobody knows what was going on in Rondale's head. Why, on that punt, they kick a field goal. That was the difference. But the defense did a phenomenal job, in that regard, forcing a field goal and then, the goal line stand towards the end.
Can I just make a quick point here? So the point of the NFL in games is to keep teams out of the end zone. And I know that the time of possession, there's no excuse, right? The Packers were on the field the whole game. The Cardinal defense did not play well from goal line to goal line, but they did predominantly keep them out of the end zone. And both of the touchdown passes to Randall Cobb, I think, were on 3rd and 4th down. So the Cardinals were forcing the Packers to later downs, and they only gave up 24 points, and they got gifted 3 points in the process. So I know it's frustrating because it felt like the Packers were on the field the whole game. I mean, I think yards are one of the most overrated things in the NFL. The job is to score points, and the defense, while not great, I do think at the end of the day, the Packers have, and as much as I love the Cardinals, a superior head coaching and quarterback combination. Cardinals aren't at that level yet. Kyler's not Aaron Rodgers, and Matt LaFleur is right now a better head coach than Cliff Kingsbury. So just giving off of that notion, I just feel like we have to put it in proper context. I think that's why a lot of us were just so surprised when the line came out and it was as robust as it was for the Cardinals. But, at the end of the day, it just didn't play well enough.
Todd mentioned time to have goldfish memory. I believe that is a reference to, help me out here.
Well, goldfish only have. Oh, is it? Okay.
Wow, I had a brain fart memory. It's just total memory loss right there. Oh my goodness. To Ted Lasso, though, that's in Ted Lasso. I wish that I would have asked that question to Cliff because Cliff compared himself to Ted.
Oh damn, yeah, that would have been.
I should have asked that.
Let's see if can we get Cliff on the line or get connected with Cliff? Maybe we could tweet at him. He doesn't tweet anymore.
I should have said this is what the question would be. I would say you've compared yourself to Ted Lasso. There's some similarities between you and him. I wanted to know, like Ted, do you preach having a goldfish memory?
Tremendous.
That would have been.
And I'll pretend to be Cliff, and I'll be like, "Hell yeah, PHNX reporter Chierstin Susel. Great question."
What is a goldfish memory?
Well,
because they have like zero memory.
How do you know that?
They're known for it. They've got like their studies. Memory is like basically non-existent.
Two seconds.
Like, did they ask? Did someone ask a goldfish 2 + 2? And
they run 4, those tests,
and then he was like,
on rats and stuff.
I don't remember the next time. Like, did they have CT?
We have people that can go to the moon. You think we can't measure a goldfish's memory?
Absolutely not.
Don't tell my kids that, though, because if we ever have a goldfish, they're going to be like, "That's my best friend. They know me." But
yeah.
The goldfish doesn't remember you?
No.
Are you for real? It doesn't remember you?
Shortest memory, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It has the shortest memory?
Yeah.
Of any animal.
I got to go watch the studies now. So I
hope
watch
Ted Lasso if you haven't.
I hope the Cardinals. I gotta go watch the studies of that. Like, yeah, I do, because it's like to say he has the shortest memory, to quantify the shortest memory. What is that?
Todd says Frank needs to watch Ted Lasso. It's amazing. Goldfish only have 10-second memories.
10-second memories.
What is that? What the Google sphere says?
I'm so amazed. You know what? I will, Todd. I tell you what. I will watch Ted Lasso, but I'm actually going to watch real studies of how long.
No, you're not.
No, I swear.
Okay, so the first this Economic Times.
That's all I do is watch YouTube
article
videos
says most.
That's it. That's all I do. That's all I do is watch YouTube videos to learn some stuff. So
it's weird.
Oh my God! Wait a second. Hold on. This is funny. This is why you do not trust just a single source. But there's an article that says that they can actually remember things for at least 5 months. I don't know. I'm not digging into the whole article. I'm reading a blurb from it. But that's the first thing. That's the first thing that pops up on Google. I have no idea if that's true or not. I'm not saying it's true. But 5 months.
I think
have we been duped, all of us?
I think the premise is still worth it. It's just whatever to fit our narrative, right? So I don't. You have to have a short memory.
The Cardinals need to have one. This is a good opportunity this week, really, to relax, get themselves mentally and emotionally together again, realize how great they can be. There's another level to finish the season with. We still got 4 games. I think 4 games until we get into a bye week.
Yeah.
Which that would be very helpful physically, emotionally, and mentally. And the next 4 games are not easy games, so we kind of go back and forth out of a conference and stuff like that. But in truth, it's going to be a good test for us physically, mentally, and emotionally as a team to see how can we continue that process of growth and look back over the last 7 games and say what we left on the table and how far we can really grow.
Can I make a quick prediction here in the next 10 days? So they play the Niners in what feels like forever from now, a week from Sunday at San Francisco. The Niners play a banged-up, bad Bears team at home this weekend. I think the Niners win that game with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think the narrative's going to change, even for a soon-to-be 3-4 Niner team, that this team is going to be disrespected again, and I think they feed off of that. I think leading up to the game, I think the spread will indicate that. I think the Cardinals will go to San as a team that people have brushed off, even with the Niners playing subpar football, because they're going to get George Kittle back. They're going to get some of their defensive backs back. So just something to watch for. Perfect opportunity for the Cardinals to play that disrespect card again.
Well, and the way things ended, Aaron Rodgers at the end of the game told Kyler Murray, "We'll see you in the playoffs." I'm sure that's something that it felt good in the midst of a lot of disappointment in the loss. We all know that Kyler hates losing more than anybody.
Yeah.
And something that that would be awesome if we see a rematch in the playoffs.
I agree with you. That's all I got to say.
It's unfortunate though, Chierstin, that it likely will be at Lambeau Field and may have red face in the process because it will be -20. I was thinking about that last night at the press conference. Like,
wait, you have to explain yourself for people who may not have listened to that conversation.
So we've compared January football in Green Bay Lambeau with the Tom Coughlin red face of, I think, 2007 when he had frostbite on his face. And the plan is we're going to send Chierstin potentially to Lambeau Field in January and expose her face on the sideline and see if she does, in fact, get red face. Because she's never been to Lambeau Field. So could be an opportunity now, divisional round, NFC Championship game. Chierstin Susel in a puffy coat, puffy suit, onesie, kind of like mine.
Have you ever had to talk in the cold, like at a freezing cold game before?
Not that I remember.
So I'm the worst with it. My jaw freezes.
Now we have to send you.
It's an actual thing.
You're going to go to Lambeau late January, NFC Championship game, Cardinals at Packers.
It's an actual thing. It's really hard for me to talk in the cold. I'll talk slowly because I can't feel my mouth. Yeah.
You got to grit your teeth a little bit. Cardinals are here at Lambeau Stadium.
That would be pretty awesome, though.
Be awesome.
The top of the NFC, can I just say this, is just completely stacked. So the Cardinals can't, you want them to be able to take a breath, but like the Rams on their heels, Tampa Bay right now is the favorite to even come out of the NFC. They've already lost to the Packers, tiebreak scenario. It's a gauntlet. It's going to be a gauntlet.
I have a stat for you. Cardinals, Packers, Bucks, and Rams have the best records in the NFL. The NFC is the first conference to have the 5 teams with the outright best records in the league through Week 7 since the 1970 merger.
Wow. Not as much parity as the league would like. There are a lot of bad teams in the NFC, and I think the common denominator is you look at those, I think you read 4 teams there, all elite.
Oh, did I leave one off?
No, I think 4 or 5 teams. Did you say 5 teams? 1,
2, 3, 4. I left one out. Who did I leave out?
So the Rams, the Cardinals, the Bucks.
Cowboys? Did I leave Cowboys out?
And the Cowboys. So all those teams, I knew what you meant. All those teams have elite quarterback play right now, and I think there's just a huge gap with the have-nots, with Russell Wilson being out, San Francisco's issues, everybody in the South kind of playing garbage football, and both the North and the East. There's a huge gap between the major players in the NFC, whereas the AFC it's a little more muddled.
Very true.
All right, I was seeing if we could get one more comment in here. Did you all see the Packers players mocking JJ on Twitter from Jordan P? I didn't see that, actually.
I did. I saw, I think Preston Smith was reiterated his comments maybe were just effing better, which is not in good care. If JJ plays and
that's
they
one
beat,
thing.
Right.
It's a free playing field at that point. Talk your smack, whatever. But the fact that JJ it's devastating. You got to have a little bit of respect at the same time for some of the great players and some of not only the great players, but guys that do so much for the game itself.
Yeah. Like the Cardinals were that much effing better because they had JJ Watt. Now they don't. So let's pump the brakes. And it was a 3-point game. Kudos to the Packers. No one's taking away anything from the Packers. And I don't like Preston Smith. You're like co-favorites to win the NFC. No one's dismissing the Packers this year. The Cardinals have been dismissed by the national media. You're the Green Bay Packers. That's
Is there
not,
any
it's not
way
relevant.
he didn't know that JJ was potentially having season-ending?
It was really short-sighted on his part, and hopefully he has to eat his words later.
Yeah, but I mean that is the point. Like dude, you are playing with the Green Bay Packers, and you've already been touted as the favorite. And no matter what you do, if you suck and stink and suck and stink and suck and stink, they're still going to say Green Bay Packers got a chance to win the NFC North, and they got a chance to be in the playoffs. I don't care if they're the 8th seed. So that's the point. The Cardinals have never had the similar conversations.
Cardinals were picked to finish 4th in their division.
So I mean, like that is definitely short-sighted and disrespectful. But if you need that to make yourself feel like you finally got some sense of notoriety on your defense because you guys shut down Kyler Murray, good job. We'll see you soon. We're not worried about that.
Long season.
Long season. We'll see you soon. So.
All right. Well, are you going out like that tonight, Frank?
I don't. Well, tonight's young.
Where can we find you?
Honestly, today, big shout out to my A3, Ava Cabrielle. She is 15 today. My number 3, I got 3 daughters, Anaya, Elena, and Ava is 15 today. They're at some juke joint doing a karaoke thing they mom have for them. So a bunch of people are kind of getting together. They're supposed to be done about 8 o'clock, so I'm probably going to jet out of here and try to run over there and catch them. If I don't, then
fun.
Yeah, well, my karaoke moment is very limited, but
I don't believe that
Dad
at all.
might bust out the tune. So.
I don't believe that at all.
I'm telling you, brother, this voice cracks like glass, man, and thrown at the wall. Trust me, it's horrible.
A quick story. When I first started dating my boyfriend, very first started dating him, I think it was the first time we ever had gone out with like friends as like a couple. We're like a weekend.
Wow.
Like a weekend. He sings karaoke. It was the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
You're going to say he's a beautiful singer.
No.
It's the worst thing I've ever heard.
I was like looking around. I was like, I never... But you know what though? Props to him because he had the personality where he just doesn't care. Like he had fun, he had a blast. I just didn't know his personality at the time.
Yeah.
Like I thought he was being serious, and it was like the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
That's good.
This is probably going to get back to him. I'm so sorry, Nick. But props to anybody who will get up there and sing karaoke because I won't.
Dude, did you not do it? That was
no, I will not do it, and that's why I respect him even more for it. Because
can you sing?
What can I say?
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I'm terrible at it.
Okay.
I'm terrible
Look,
at it.
my ex-wife can sing.
Frank, you want to sing?
You're going to be all right. You can shut it down. That's not good. I got You'll Never Find
There you go.
It's like you've sang
a
on the show
hairline
before.
like mine. That's been Saul's top song that we typically do. But outside of that, my daughters, this is not
That's
a
better than
karaoke
me.
moment for my daughters. They mom can sing. Like she has 2 CDs out. She was a lead praise and
dang.
worship.
Wow.
She's just fine and singing. The girls can sing. They sound good. They are characters. They have
What about a
great
duet
personality.
with your daughter?
I will just be in the back doing
the
the
baritone.
I'll just be doing the dance,
The
the
backup
shoo wop,
dancer?
the shoo wop, and the doo wop. That's all I got. But
Walk
then
it out?
I can walk it out. Eastside walk it out. I can dance. I can dance. Now my daughters asked me this one thing. They did ask me could I dance, and I was like, heck yeah. So now when we go out or we go to eat and we like go to a fun restaurant and have like music playing, so I'd be like bopping with them and whatnot, and they be like. And they get embarrassed by it, but I'm like, nah, Dad can dance. Y'all just know Dad's pretty cool, you know. But they've never seen me be cool. So like that is.
They just need to pop over to YouTube. They can see you be cool.
Yeah.
On Saturdays and Sundays.
I try to give it to them, but it's my daughters. You know, they know how they get embarrassed. Kids get embarrassed by your parents, man. It's just.
Wait, how old's your oldest?
Naya's 19.
19.
Lena is 18.
Oh my God, that's
Naya
close
goes,
in age.
Yeah, I know. So
19, 18, 15.
both off seasons. We had an off weekend. Back to back off season. Both off season weekends. Mom was like, how you doing? I was like, how you doing?
Oh, man.
So expect somebody in about 4 weeks when the Cardinals have an off weekend, somebody's going to show up by Christmas time, but we pregnant.
Okay,
I
that's how
can't
it works.
top that show.
That's what happens, yo. You know, football, y'all grind. All we do is grind,
Yeah.
right? All we do is grind. Like in football, you grind. You get up in the morning. You try to make this thing work between 5 and 7 o'clock in the morning doing treatment and therapy. You guys are prepping, getting up in the morning, watching what the East Coast is talking about. Then you find out, you find your storylines. You dive in what you got to do, and you get ready to do the work. There's some grunt that takes place in what you guys are doing, what we're doing. It's not like the same. The players are doing the exact same thing. So, and then when you finally get a chance to be at the house, walk around with your flip-flops.
It's go time.
Right, yeah, it's go time.
That's right.
Flip-flops, baby, and sandals, and daddy's ready to get the party popping.
Oh, no.
Let's go some touchdowns.
All right,
Score
well,
some
Frank,
touchdowns.
now that
Home,
we
Chierstin.
know you have a karaoke party to get to, we
Yep.
want to make sure that you're actually able to do
Thank
that.
you so very
for our
much.
viewers, if you have not subscribed on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast,
Bats out
hit
of my
that
face.
subscribe button. Follow us on social media at PHNX_sports, and we shall see you. We got the weekend off with the Thursday game, so we'll see you on Monday.
Thank you so very much for that.